Non-vegan? War? Oh, no sweat. They only just make our world more and more dangerous to live in. So even the moon runs away, the earth stops spinning, the sun is broken almost into pieces, with some giant holes, one ripped in its middle, 20 times bigger than our planet. What's the problem? Oh, it just might fall to Earth. Why? The answer might come too late for you. And or for all of us.
Warning: sensitive images.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Нашите предавания предлагат много езици. Моля вижте suprememastertv.com/schedule.
And man shall walk as if asleep. He does not look, he may not peep. And iron men the tale shall do, and iron cart and carriage too.
Please watch on for Prophecy Part 241, Prophecies by the English soothsayer Mother Shipton.
Deny vegan? Oh, your merciful original self-nature has been rusty only. Shine it with vegan.
Greetings, exceptional viewers, and wishes of love and happiness to you. I'm Alina, a herbalist skilled in the use of time-honoured plant-based remedies. My life is filled with wonder as I discover the medicinal secrets of the herbs in the valleys. The graceful people of England admire your authentic honesty and natural truthfulness. May you feel the presence of the divine as you admire our Earth's beautiful forests and grasslands. Throughout the history of mankind, the divine messages are often shrouded in mystery. Prophets, messiahs, or whichever names you call them, are often persecuted and oppressed, their words obscured. But how do we distinguish the true from the false? To do so, one can only rely on the divine's guidance, and the truth will reveal itself to those who earnestly seek it. In our last episode, we learned about Mother Shipton, a gifted prophetess who saw ahead in time and wrote many prophecies that have come to pass. Her visions also extended to encompass happenings that are occurring in our time. Mother Shipton wrote that there will be signs that indicate when a certain time has come. This refers to the time of global disasters or the judgment times, as she later illustrates. But before describing these times, her words indicate how humans will behave when these times are upon us.
The signs will be there for all to read when man shall do most heinous deed. Man will ruin kinder lives by taking them as to their wives.
As we explored last week, one aspect of the kinder lives could indicate the exploitation, torture, killing and maiming of innocent animal people to satisfy people's greed for animal people meat and products derived from our sweet animal friends. Humans commit truly heinous acts upon the animal folks, including artificially inseminating animal ladies against their will, and then taking their babies away and murdering them. Another aspect of this writing may apply to the rampant sexual abuse that continues to this day within the Catholic Church. Clergymen continue to rape vulnerable children and babies, as well as nuns and fellow clergymen.
More than a decade later, new disclosures continue to make headlines.
Sins of the fathers.
Case after case of alleged sexual misconduct.
Committed by Catholic priests and covered up by bishops.
The bishop was warned about Cost's behavior, but kept moving him around.
In recent decades, and more intensely during recent years, these abuses are being increasingly made public in multiple countries across the globe. In France, a report found over 330,000 children were abused by over 3,000 perpetrators within the church since 1950. In Germany, 3,677 minors were molested between 1946 and 2014. In Ireland, nearly 15,000 underage victims were sexually abused between 1970 and 1990 alone. And in the United States, there have been 11,000 allegations of sexual abuse made against 4,392 priests between 1950 and 2002. During 2018 to 2021, there were another 11,765 child sexual abuse allegations reported in the States. In the case of Australia between 1950 and 2010, some Catholic religious orders had more than 20% of its members accused of sexual abuse, with one order having 40%. Most recently in Portugal, it was revealed that at least 4,815 children were abused, and the researchers were sure that the findings were only the tip of the iceberg.
Można powiedzieć, że świat dziecka w tym momencie runął. Się posypał. Poszedłem do domu, powiedziałem to mamie. Moja mama mi nie uwierzyła, ponieważ było dla ludzi w tamtejszych czasach było to do nieuwierzenia. Nie było to po prostu coś, co mogli przyjąć naturalnie. I ja automatycznie już to parę miesięcy po tym przestałem jeść. Trafiłem raz, drugi, trzeci raz do szpitala. Wpadłem w anoreksję. I było tak, że ksiądz się pojawił na kolędzie u nas. Ten sam ksiądz srebrzyński. Byłem na Kropówce w szpitalu. To był stan taki, można powiedzieć, prawie że śmiertelny.
Ja nie wiedziałem, co się właściwie stało. Straciłem poczucie swojej godności, swojego jakiegoś takiego swojego ja.
Po tym, jak zostałeś zgwałcony przez księdza, co on ci powiedział?
Żebym tego nikomu nie mówił, co się stało. Żebym nie mówił tego nawet na spowiedzi, żebym się z tego nie spowiadał. I ja tego nigdy nie powiedziałem nikomu do momentu, kiedy już nie wytrzymałem i kiedy próbowałem popełnić samobójstwo.
Noc była kolejnym koszmarem. Broniłem się. Próbowałem go odpychać, ale on był silniejszy. On w reakcji na mój opór tylko się śmiał. Śmiał się z mojej bezradności. Gwałcił mnie już nie tylko w nocy. Czasem też po plażowaniu, po południu, rano. Wiele razy. Przez 7 dni.
Jak podzielić wiedzę, że ten sam ksiądz miał, nie wiem, pół godziny wcześniej swoją rękę w majtkach dziecka, z tym, że on potem rozdaje komunię świętą, z tym, że odprawia mszę świętą, że i ksiądz, i jego przełożeni dopuszczają do takiej sytuacji. Ja uważam, że za to powinni odpowiedzieć. I to bardzo mocno odpowiedzieć, bo to jest ich wina.
The innocent victims have been left with permanent psychological, emotional, and even physical injuries that destroyed their lives. Others committed suicide due to being raped. And while the leaders of the church attempt to hide their heinous crimes, more and more reports are being made public as the victims seek justice and express their deep pain. Research shows that the Catholic Church has known about priest paedophilia since the 1950s, and that they regularly reassigned abusive priests to new parishes that were unaware of their predatory transgressions.
Thus knowingly and willingly endangered more children within these new parishes.
Instead of trying to protect innocent people from sexual abuse, the Church instead worried about its reputation and protecting its finances, lest they be sued due to the molestations and intense suffering that the victims have endured and will continue to endure for the rest of their lives. Yet despite its clergy attacking innocent children, the Catholic Church allowed those priests to stay, and in some cases even promoted known sexual aggressors.
For the past 2 decades, the Roman Catholic Church has been in the spotlight, plagued by a child abuse problem it hasn't resolved. It's been a global reckoning, spanning at least dozens of countries.
Pope Francis opens a landmark sex abuse summit on abuse
by calling abusive clergy tools of Satan.
Some saw it as a turning point. But on the ground, as cases in the US mount, prosecutors and activists say the church is fighting hard against survivors.
We exposed the abuse within the church and their response, particularly by some of the bishops who were engaged in the conspiracy and cover-up, was to go spend parishioner money to hire lobbyists to try and make it harder for survivors to confront their abusers in court.
No one has known more about the abuse cases than the Catholic dioceses themselves. For me, nearly 30 years of my life could have been completely different had the church protected the sheep instead of that abusive shepherd.
The Attorney General's grand jury report identified more than 300 predator priests and more than 1,000 victims. It also triggered a wave of hundreds of previously unknown alleged victims to come forward and share their stories. One of those was Jimmy Pliska, who says he was raped by his local parish priest more than 40 years ago, when he was 12 years old.
The abuse was a life-changing incident that just set my life in a totally different direction. He would invite altar boys to go on fishing trips, a sleepover, and the only place for you to stay was with Father in his room, because that's all there was Father's double bed. I'm not going anywhere. until he got off me, and that's when I crawled out of bed and laid on the floor in a fetal position. And it was a crime that happened to us. Since when should the church be allowed to handle criminal cases? Why isn't it in front of the judicial system, as it should be?
And man shall walk as if asleep. He does not look, he may not peep. And iron men the tale shall do, and iron cart and carriage too.
Mother Shipton predicted the age of AI, in which the man is the modern robot, walking without any signs of real life in them, without any real sense of physical perception as AI do. Just plug in with a cord behind them, the tail, then they shall function. And the same with varieties of electric cars in our modern time. Mother Shipton might have also hinted that we are in the judgment time, that humans will live their lives as if they are not awake.
By iron, she might have been referring to the Kali Yuga period, which is the spiritual Iron Age, or the Age of Darkness mentioned in Hinduism. During this time, the human race is in the most ignorant and degraded stage, forgetful of God and spiritual values with which to live life. Instead, humans predominantly live a material, shallow life that is devoid of spiritual awakening. Atheism increases, and many people place their faith in scientific logic instead of spirituality. Meanwhile, corruption within science occurs as corporations suppress research, intimidate scientists, selectively publish articles that are in their interests, and manipulate study designs. Yet the majority of people blindly accept the information that corporations and the media present, while the media is also a puppet to wider political and governmental agendas. Misinformation by large organizations is rife, as they consistently attempt to mislead the public about the true underlying cause of global warming and climate change, which is the animal people livestock industry. During the Kali Yuga, people eat food derived from animal people carcasses and secretions, with no conscience about their suffering. They choose to believe the falsely happy images that the media uses to sell animal people's flesh, and hence ignore the deep suffering that our non-human co-inhabitants endure. Humanity is misled, and in their ignorance, they allow themselves to be led by other ignorant or malevolent individuals, whom they follow like an iron cart or carriage. Their lack of spiritual enlightenment leaves them unable to identify and resist corruption, misinformation, deception, and manipulation by those with vested interests.
Veganism has given me a strong, healthy body and mind. Maya, vegan.
Noble viewers, thank you for joining us today. Please tune in again next week as we continue our adventure through the prophecies of the renowned soothsayer of medieval England, Mother Shipton. Coming up next is influential Zen master Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, vegan, peace activist and poet, part 1 of 2, right after Noteworthy News. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. May your time in nature be graced with the healing peace of Mother Earth.
Russia, leave Ukraine or you reign now. Peace be with you too.
Be vegan. make peace, do good deeds, hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/AP.